Whenever I feel something new, and every time
Stacey Gillette is having a relatively good day. On bad days, she has breathing problems and fatigue and has been diagnosed with long COVID-related POTS syndrome, a blood circulation disorder with a racing heartbeat and dizziness. She's kept a journal of her symptoms.
My writing sometimes, it's hard sometimes to actually do the writing. But I have to write it because if I don't, I will forget it.
She first got COVID-19 in April 2020, but by June was still suffering. She says she's had COVID 3 times since.
I talked to my doctor who told me there are online groups of people like you who are not getting well from COVID. So I joined one for people who got COVID prior to April 2020 in the beginning. And it was a small group at the time, maybe 4,000 people. And then I realized I wasn't alone.
More than 2.5 years later, as many as 23 million people in the US have experienced long-haul COVID symptoms, lasting weeks or months after an infection.
I keep my water in here.
In Stacey's case, it's turned her from being an active member of society, who supported people with substance abuse problems and led reading classes as a volunteer at schools, into someone who isn't well enough to do those things.
As Josh mentioned,
the Brookings Institution estimates there's been a major impact on the labour market. A recent report says as many as 4 million people are out of work in the US due to long COVID. The pandemic has also contributed to early retirements.
There's been a big increase in the number of older Americans who have left the labour force. So this is the labour force participation rate of people 55 and older. And you can see that it fell dramatically in the spring of 2020 and then rose a little, but has been quite persistently lower, a lot lower than it was before the pandemic.
Stacey says she does what she can to help improve her brain health by reading and doing daily puzzles.
It is helping, because I think if I wasn't doing that, I would really be a mess.
A real challenge for sufferers wanting to get back to work is that doctors still don't fully understand why only some people get long COVID and how to help patients heal from it. The White House has just announced its winter plan for tackling COVID-19 infections into 2023, including free testing, getting more access to vaccines and stockpiling medical supplies, hoping not to add to the millions of people still suffering so badly from previous infections that they can't work at all. Caroline Malone, CGTN, Washington.